Today, I'm going to give you what I hope to be a motivating talk on why we often do the right thing, but for the wrong reason. Oh, sorry. Oh. Oops, the wrong way. Okay. Good start, good start. All right. So poverty, cancer, and global warming. These are just a few of the many urgent societal problems that we face on a daily basis. What if I told you that if we were all motivated for the right reason, we could overcome these issues? Clearly, this can't happen overnight, but let's explore the possibilities by looking at what motivates our decisions and our behaviors. So motivation is a reason for people's actions, desires, and needs. In other words, it is our desire to do things. It's the difference between waking up at 5 a.m. to practice your PNB talk and sitting in bed all day watching Netflix, which I'm sure many of you would rather be doing right now. I want you to think back to the last time that you filled in a survey that was designed to improve campus services at McMaster. Did you fill in this survey because it was the right thing to do as it would benefit many students that come to McMaster in the future? Alternatively, did you fill in the survey because there was a gift card involved? There's no right or wrong answer, but let's be honest, who doesn't love a gift card to Starbucks? Or maybe after this presentation, LCBO. So there are actually two specific types of motivators. The first type of motivation is intrinsic motivation, which refers to behavior that is driven by internal rewards. So when we're intrinsically motivated to do something, such as to help others or to save energy, we do so not because of an external reward, but because we simply think it is the right thing to do. There's actually a psychological concept known as the helper's high, which suggests that doing good actually makes us feel good, both physically and psychologically. So in this example, for those of you who have seen The Grinch, when his heart grows 3 times his size, he becomes intrinsically motivated to bring back Christmas to the Who's, and he's much happier afterwards. You can see here he's literally glowing. So the other type of motivation is extrinsic motivation, which refers to behavior that is driven by external rewards. For example, we all TA because we get a paycheck at the end of the week. A fundamental characteristic and downside of extrinsic motivations is that they only really work when they're maintained. If you take away the incentive, the behavior stops. So if we didn't get a paycheck at the end of the week, we might not want to TA anymore. So by its very nature, competition is an example of an extrinsic motivator. If you're competitive like I am, you find competitions pretty enjoyable and you're highly motivated to win. So there are many examples of competition in our society. For example, the Super Bowl. So 110 million people tuned in last year to watch Tom Brady win his 5th Super Bowl. And if you watched it, it was one of the best Super Bowls I've seen in my life. Another example of competition, which unfortunately broke a lot of people's hearts, was last year during the presidential election when Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton went head-to-head in a very fierce competition. And love isn't without its competition as well. You probably remember from your high school years when Jacob and Edward were fighting over Bella. So as we see, competitions have a very important role in our society, so we might ask whether we can leverage these for pro-social causes as well, such as getting people to donate to charities or save energy. And in fact, the answer is yes. So there's this a competition run every year at Princeton University known as the Do It in the Dark campaign. And basically, different residence buildings compete and go head-to-head to see which building could save the most energy. And the winner receives a prize of some sort, such as a paid week off of school. So here are the results. We have time on the x-axis and energy consumption on the y-axis. So this is the initial energy usage just before the competition began. And as soon as the competition begins, we notice that energy usage decreases significantly and at a very quick rate. The kicker is, as soon as the competition ends, energy consumption returns to where it was before. This tells us that an extrinsic motivator pretty much needs to be present for the students to want to save energy. Or in other words, this positive change in behavior is temporary, not permanent. So it seems to us that extrinsic motivators are a bit more influential than intrinsic motivators. And this leads us to the phenomenon known as the Overt justification effect, which occurs when an expected extrinsic reward decreases our intrinsic motivation to perform a task. So here's an example. Let's say the students were initially intrinsically motivated to save energy because they really cared about the environment, but now the competition's come along and now they're offered money or some else kind of award to save energy. Once the competition's over and there's no more reward, they're probably not going to want to save energy anymore. So how can we explain the over-justification effect? Well, in part, it's probably due to instrumental conditioning. So consider an example where children are asked to wash the dishes and in return, they're offered candy by their parents. In this case, candy acts as the extrinsic motivator. Now, after some time, let's say the children wash dishes, but they aren't offered candy anymore. They're probably not going to be motivated to want to wash dishes anymore because the motivation's not there anymore. Even if they know it's the right thing to do because it helps their parents out after a long day at work, they probably still want to because of the over-justification effect. So this is why we often use variable reinforcement schedules rather than fixed reinforcement schedules, because with a variable reinforcement schedule, the reinforcement is presented at variable times, so it's very hard to predict. Where with a fixed reinforcement schedule, the reinforcement is very predictable, so that's why we use that. So I'm not suggesting that fun little challenges and competitions are not useful for raising awareness and achieving short-term goals. Consider the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge that went viral a few years ago. This campaign ended up raising millions and millions of dollars. Yet, do we really expect that by just dumping ice over heads that we've come to deeply care about ALS as a cause? Probably not. So therefore, competitions are great for achieving short-term goals, but if we want to fix bigger problems like poverty and global warming, we're going to have to use long-term motivators. And psychological research has shown that intrinsically motivated behavior changes are likely to be maintained in the long run because they don't require constant reinforcement. So here we are, back where we started. We saw that people are willing to save energy if there's an extrinsic motivator present. The crazy thing was they literally changed their behavior pretty much overnight. Unfortunately, life's unfair and we aren't rewarded every time we do something remotely sociably honorable, right? Life's rough. So it's up to you and me and everyone else on this planet to change your way of thinking and start doing things for the right reason. If anyone asks if we are capable of doing the right thing, the answer is absolutely yes. But are we willing and motivated to do so? That one's up for debate. So let us be the generation that changes that. Thank you very much.